listening to Chris Talks Cars on Cartoon Channel. Hey everybody, welcome to Chris Talks Cars. My name is Chris Goodin, and with me today is one of my best car friends, and just best friends in general, Brandon Cole. Say hello.
Hey, I'm Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon is, we've been friends since the Navy. We were on the same ship together. And really the only reason we are friends is because of cars, because he worked in a completely different part of the boat.
Yeah, we didn't ever really work together.
No, and well, just engineering and technical people generally don't get along anyway. So it's really a love story brought to you by cars.
Love, hate.
Yeah. I don't even remember what the first car thing we did together. Probably a Cars and Coffee.
I don't know. I know that, I don't know. I kind of had that, either that Evo or the S2000 at the time. And
yeah, I wish I would have known you during the Evo time, because I think we became friends while you were building the S2000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got rid of the S2000 right after the 2010 deployment. We got back. It was
tell everybody about that car a little bit, because that was not just your garage build S2000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was probably definitely the fastest vehicle I've ever owned. It was a 2003, so it was the last year of the AP1 S2000, and I pretty much got it because I got in some trouble with the Evo. Actually, Virginia Beach. It's funny. Your last podcast, you were talking about how you got in trouble with Virginia Beach Authority, and so I was cruising up Virginia Beach. Some rice burner pulled up next to me in his Honda, and we had a little race there, and obviously I won. I was in the Evo, and
right.
it was mostly stock. It didn't really have much done to it, just 2 bolt-ons. And I guess the cop caught me doing like 97. From where I'm from, North Texas, the speed limits out here are 85 miles an hour in some areas. So
right.
it wasn't really that big a deal to me, I thought, but speed limit on the road I was on was 55, and basically just gave me a ticket and let me go. So I didn't think much of it. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna pay this ticket and move on with my life. But
right.
Sure enough, I get back to the ship and tell my chief about it, and he starts tripping, and I go to court, and they locked me up, man. Judge gave me 30 days, and then my lawyer kind of argued with the judge a little bit and pleaded with him. He's like, hey, he's deploying here in like 7 days, so how's that going to work out? And so they ended up giving me 5 days and letting me go.
Wow.
So I spent 5 days in Virginia Beach County Jail, and I think when I got back from that 2010 deployment, I decided, you know what, I'm going to get something fun and cool, but slow so I can stay out of trouble. So I got the S2000, just thinking, okay, it's real low on torque, and it's got a little bit of horsepower, 240, but not a big deal.
Right.
I got it. It ended up being super fun to drive. And so I decided I wanted to do like individual throttle bodies on it, just something different.
Right.
And just maybe get a little bit more power out of it and make it sound cool, whatever. So I go up to this shop, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he convinces me to do a turbo setup. So,
of course he does.
And he's like, man, it's not going to cost too much more. I was like, you know what? I'll do it. So I went in and did it. This is like some shade tree shop. It was a complete joke. I blew the engine on the way home from the.
Oh my! Are you serious?
Yeah, no, blew that first engine. I picked it up after they dynoed it. It was supposed to make like 410 horsepower or something like that, and it was already like smoking. Blew the engine, so I was like, man, screw these guys. So I went to Rammy built. I believe it's Rammy built racing. He's out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and he's notorious for making amazing Honda engines. I hope he doesn't mind a shout out there, but he built me a completely bulletproofed, iron sleeves, forged everything. Ended up having a Precision 66X turbo on it, and built transmission. I think it was in the whole engine transmission at around $15,000.
Jesus.
And
I didn't know you had to build trans too. I thought you just had the engine at that point.
Yeah. It was, I don't think that the stock transmission would have held up very long without it.
Right.
But I think the weak link still is the rear end, because I was running a stock rear end.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they're not made for massive turbo torque.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, though. It didn't make a lot of torque. It made like 320. I can't remember the exact figures. Around 350 torque, 325, somewhere around there.
Right.
But that was conservative. Like, he basically told me, he's like, you just tell me how much power you want to make, and it's going to make it. So I was like, I think I started off around 450-ish or so. And then towards the end, I took it back to him, had it retuned, and it laid down 553 at the rear wheels.
Is that how much it had when I rode with you? Because that is still to this. I've ridden in Hellcats and everything else, and that was the sketchiest 0 to 60 I've ever done. Was in that Honda.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got to keep in mind, like, that translates to, like, a Hellcat is 707, right? But that translates to 630 at the crank, roughly, engine horsepower, and that's in a 2,700 pound car with a 410 axle, or 4.11 or something like that axle.
Right.
So it's just it's major overkill for that little car, but yeah, it's super lightweight. 553 at the wheels, and that was still a pretty conservative tune. Like, there's no reason for me to go any higher than that. Realistically, no reason to go over 500 on that thing, because it couldn't get traction or anything. So it was entirely a highway car, like highway pulls. And I did a lot of that.
I remember one time we saw each other on the freeway, and I was in my A4 with my 1.8 turbo and my stage one APR tune, and I was in third gear on the floor, and you were just next to me I had my windows down. I just heard you whoop, whoop. Like, you weren't even on the throttle. You couldn't even stay in the power because you just left me. So you just would like power it up every 3 seconds and just catch up with me. It was so demoralizing. Like, I knew my Audi was slow, but I had no idea it was just the worst.
Yeah, that car it was a lot of fun. I mean, especially, people like to trash talk the Hondas and rice burners and all the VTEC jokes and whatever going around the car community. But when that car, the turbo was so big on it, didn't really do anything at low RPM. So it really drove I drove it from Virginia to Texas, no problem. Mm-hmm. It drove like a regular S2000, because if you're not in VTEC, it hardly spooled at all. And so once you hit VTEC, it started to spool, and then probably 3,500 RPM or so, it really started to take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was a fun driver, and I mean, anybody driven S2000 knows they're like Miatas. They handle amazing. They're fun to drive. Got an outstanding gearbox and gobs of power after you dump all your money into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you got the Walker Texas Ranger truck after that, right?
Well, actually, I actually bought that. You came with me to buy that because that it took 7 months to build that engine with these guys. It was a pretty demanding shop, so they had a lot of other projects. I think mine at the time was the bigger projects they had, but it was, as far as the engine bay is concerned, powertrain, they started from scratch there. So it took them 7 months to get my S2000 and all the parts and everything installed and tuned and everything. But so yeah, we went and bought that single cab 2001. It might have been 02. Ram 1500 4-wheel drive. I really like that truck. I got a little lift kit on it, 35-inch tires. I took that thing hunting, mudding, do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Transmission started going out before I got rid of it, but that's every Dodge pretty much. It seems like.
Right.
Yeah. But that was a good one. Ended up trading that in for that F-250 Power Stroke.
Oh, you raced a bunch of people when you went home, though, didn't you, in the S2000?
Yeah, I took that home. I sold it here. Some young guy, and I hope he's still alive. But he had more plans for it, I guess. But I drove it home, and I raced several people. Just mostly. I think I raced probably like 3 Corvettes just on the way home. Some of them I called them out, and some of the other guys, I think they heard what was going on under the hood, and they kind of tried to race me. But they're pretty fun because you pretty much half throttle them. It's not flying. They're C5s, all of them were.
Yeah, I was gonna say back then Corvettes were still, they weren't the weapons they are now.
Yeah. I really never got to race anything incredibly fast, except for I raced a 600cc. I think it was like a GSXR 600 motorcycle. I was able to pull on him. And I grew up riding a lot of motorcycles as well. I feel like that car probably would have been a pretty good comparison racing like a liter bike, 1000cc.
Yeah.
I feel like it was honestly that fast, but it'd probably been a close race. I don't know. On a highway pull.
Yeah. Who knows, man? It's like you watch those 1320 videos and it'll be like, oh, BMW RR 1000 with like a 250 shot or something. And you're like, oh, this guy's going to be in the next zip code before the light stops flashing. But then some GTR, of course, always with like half the horsepower somehow pulls on them always. I don't know what it is with the GTRs.
I think the thing is, it's like from a dig, right? You're getting all the weight moving. So, super lightweight motorcycle, and you got a heavy vehicle. Even the S2000 at like 2,700 pounds is a lot compared to a motorcycle. But once everything's rolling, I mean, it's really just a horsepower race at that point.
Right.
I mean, weight still obviously plays a lot of role in your axle ratios and everything, but it really does come down to a horsepower race. Back when I was growing up in high school here in DFW area, there was a guy, I don't know if he was from North Texas or southern part of Oklahoma or something, but is a white, I believe it was a Silverado 1500 extended cab, and I think he made something like 700 on the motor, and then he had a ton of nitrous on it on top of that, and he was like one of the fastest cars around. I mean, that was it. Like if you were fast, you weren't fast unless you weren't the fastest unless you beat that guy. I don't remember all what he had going on. It was a long time ago, but it's all a horsepower race if you're doing highway pulls, from my experience anyways.
Yeah. Not that we would know. All those races take place in Mexico because it's illegal to do in America.
Yeah, well, I already admitted to going to jail.
Yeah, I talked. You got nailed, man, because I only got 4 hours. But that lawyer I had, he was $1,000, but he knew what he was doing. Like he's like, this judge is a dick. This judge is a dick. He pushed it like. I think I waited like 4 months before, like, past my original court date to find like the one judge he knew was a little bit more lenient. So.
Yeah. I think they tried pushing mine out too, but we had the deployment coming up, so there's only so much we could do, and they ended up. Oh
yeah, that's true.
Sticking to that guy, and I think he knew. He's like, I know this judge, and he's like, it's not looking good, but I'm gonna be there with you. I was like, whatever, man. I just paid you to take me to jail, but I did.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like the only thing the lawyer asked, like in my benefit, was if I could drive to and from work on my suspended license. And like before he even finished the sentence, the judge was like, nah. And that was it. Like they were leading me to the holding cell.
Yeah, I think one of the things that royally pissed me off about the whole thing was, like, I understand I screwed up. I did some dumb stuff, so I deserve to be punished. But there's people, and because there was like probably a dozen people like that had to talk to the judge before me, so I'm just sitting there waiting my turn, and almost all of them are in there for DWIs and having wrecks under the influence and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, that sounds a lot worse than what I was doing, because these people are, they're impaired driving, and what I was doing was dangerous too. But at least I'm very in control of my vehicle. I've been racing my entire life. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, so all these people get slapped on the wrist, and then I'm the one going to jail. They're like, okay, you can drive to and from work for a couple months of probation and pay some fines, and you're free to go. And then I'm more or less like reckless driving that got me on, and I'm going to jail for it.
Yeah, it's traffic laws. I mean, I support the police. I'm not one of these crazy people that think we should hire brink security for everything, but
Yeah.
traffic enforcement is really hard for me to swallow sometimes. Like, unless I'm weaving in and out of traffic causing a hazard, just let me go about my day. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't blinker to change lanes on an empty highway. My bad. Like, is that worth stopping me and like wrecking my day and causing me a fine and all this other stuff? Really? You're revenue collectors at that point. Like,
Yeah. I've since then, since the S2000 days, I've pretty much slowed down. I save it all for the tracks, and I've had race boats, so like you can go as fast and crazy as you want on the lake. So those are a lot of fun. But I had that. I was just telling you the other day about that drag strip. You saw it's about 3 miles from the house for sale.
North Star or whatever it is.
Yeah. So we just got word it's sold, and they're turning into an RV park. So now my racetrack. So I guess I'm back on the streets.
Oh my God, dude, that's brutal.
I know it sucks so bad, but I grew up drag racing there. That was like the epitome of my car life when I was growing up. Took like all my first cars racing there, and some of my other hot rods that I've more recently had. And now it's gone. So, and then the next closest drag strip that I know of is down there in Ennis, where me and you went a couple months back.
Fuck, man. Oh yeah, for streetcar takeover. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a cool deal. Take a convertible down there.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we did some pretty good burnouts in that. I had a V6 convertible Camaro for my rental when I went to streetcar takeover. Was it November last year?
Oh man. Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, early November, because I thought, because I think it's the same weekend as World Cup finals. And I didn't know that World Cup finals was as like the Haltech in Maryland was as big a deal as it was. But
oh yeah, that's right. That's why you said that it wasn't as busy as it normally is.
Yeah, there was like nobody there's nobody in Dallas. But that I really went into it. So I've had the convertible turbo 4-cylinder Mustang and the 6-cylinder Camaro, and I really went into them wanting to hate them because I still think it's kind of blasphemous to not put a V8 in a muscle car. Like if you can't afford the gas to commute in a muscle car, then don't have a muscle car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's still the way I feel. So I wanted to hate them, but holy shit, man, they were so much fun. That little Mustang, I think it did 25 pounds of boost from the factory.
Yeah. And it got me thinking. So I grew up, or my second car was a 97 Z28 Camaro with the LT1, and it with a 6-speed manual. And that V6 Mustang, the new V6 Camaro, might be faster than that was from stock.
I mean, maybe it's got the 8-speed, 10-speed in the Camaro.
I think so. Yeah, I'd like to see. I haven't looked up the paper. What they do 0 to 60 in quarter mile times. But it's been 14 years since I've driven that old Camaro. But that Mustang actually surprised me. I was like, it's just a V6 Mustang, not a big deal. But I think back then those Camaros made anywhere from like 275 to 285 horsepower, and that little V6 Camaros are like what 235 now, or 335. Something like that.
Yeah,
which is what they advertised for LS1s when they first came out for the Trans Ams, and Camaro was like 325, something like that. That's crazy. Technology comes a long way.
Yeah, right. Like the V6 Mustangs. Right. Well, you think about the first gen V6 Mustangs, they were the absolute worst.
Oh, terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think they didn't even make 300.
No, definitely not. And the transmissions were garbage, and it was made for college girls to drive to and from class. Like they weren't performance machines of any kind.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I still don't think you should buy one, but if you're going to buy one, I don't think that's as horrible as they once were.
Oh yeah, they've come a long ways. I mean, they're not anything compared to the Coyotes or anything like that, but
Right.
Definitely. I mean, like what you had, the if you get like the more, some of the more base model engines are still peppy and fun, and if you get a convertible, I mean, shoot, convertibles are awesome.
Yeah, especially somewhere like Texas. I had one here one time as a rental, and it's just too hot in the summer. Like there's no way you can drive around with the top down and black interior when it's 115 degrees outside. So here they're kind of useless, but no, I don't understand why people hate on the convertible. Like, have you ever ridden in one? They're amazing.
They're great. Well, I think back when I was more of a car purist, I was like, if I want a race car, it's got to be a coupe, because you get all the rigidity out of it, and a lot of times they're a bit lighter weight. So it's just nothing but advantages as far as racing is concerned. But everything I drive, I'd take to the track and I'll do a little racing with it, and I'm just going to drive it. I'm going to take my wife out on a date on it or whatever. And
yeah.
I want to enjoy it no matter what I'm doing. So convertibles, man, if it's 75 degrees outside, hell yeah, I want the top down. Yeah.
So the 2020 Camaro, they do a 2-liter 4-cylinder and a 3.6-liter V6. Yeah. And the 4-banger's 275 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 295 foot-pounds of torque.
That's solid for an entry level.
The V6 is 335 at 68 and 284 at 53. So nice little torque drop on the V6, but
yeah. I was actually looking up all the not that I'm looking to buy one or anything, but you had asked me you had told me about the 1320 edition for the Challenger.
Oh, yeah.
And then so I was looking that up. I was like, man, that just sounds awesome. Like because that's all I want. All the the Mustangs, they're obviously superior around corners on a flat track and stuff like that, but realistically, I don't do that. I mean, it is fun going around back country roads and taking right turns and that type of stuff, but realistically, I mean, I'm a straight line racer. I always have been, always will be. If I'm in a car. And so, all I want is something that's set up to actually drag race. So, the Demon sounds amazing, but that's clearly out of my price range. And even the track packs and the 1320 edition for the Challenger and the scat packs, I mean, those just seem awesome. But I started looking it up, even with the trans brake and all that, you get on the 1320 Challenger, man, they're just marginally faster than
they're big, heavy boats, man. They ride awesome. I get it. If I was going to get a big 4-door sedan before I drop $100,000 on a Mercedes, I'd for sure get like a Hellcat or something with 4 doors and 700 horsepower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, but I'm not, I don't know. I don't know, man. They're so heavy. Don't call them sports cars. I guess they don't. They call them muscle cars, which is.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of Muscle is their slogan now.
I do want to go to the Roadkill Nights Mopar thing in Michigan because that looks awesome. Have you seen that?
I never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Oh, they shut down Woodward Avenue in Pontiac, Michigan, and they drag race on the street. It's sponsored by Dodge. A few years ago, Richard Rollins did it. Right? No, Pontiac's not. No, Richard Rollins did it a few years ago and piled it into a wall while he was drag racing Leah Pritchett in a Hellcat. Look it up. Roadkill Nights. It's huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That'd be cool to go to.
Oh, I guess when
the Corona's over, when you get back on the road.
Yeah, this is, I don't know what I'm going to do, man, because, like, depending on which article you read at what time of the day, it's like, oh, no, everything's opening up next week. And then you read the next article down, and it's like six more months before we have a vaccine. Stay home, flatten the curve. It's like, well, what's going to happen? Because I got a lot of overhead right now that if I'm just going to sit here and do the podcast, I'm super happy to do that. But, I got a freaking truck payment and an RV payment and insurance that if I'm out on the road is fine, but it's not doing me a lot of good sitting in my sister's driveway.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Like, lot of stuff's supposed to be opening up around here. Like restaurants won't be, but other things will on Monday. Churches and other not quite essential businesses, but things that typically used to having.
The sad part is from everything I've read, it's pretty much universal that all the opening up is still for like small groups, and they won't be able to throw events till probably next year, honestly. Like we might get some at the tail end of this year in like the late summer and fall.
Yeah.
But from everything I've read, it's like the first things that'll open is just to keep the economy going. It's not like returning to life as usual.
Yeah, probably. There's no way of us really knowing what's going to happen, but yeah, it does suck, especially for, car community and stuff and what you're doing, because just throws a wrench in the whole thing. You had big plans aren't going through now.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'll wait another couple weeks. I talked to my business partner Manny. You met him, and I guess we'll have to figure it out. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully things start opening up, because I do want to go out and see car shit again. It's getting kind of boring looking at it on Instagram.
Well, either way, hopefully what I'm really counting on is fall. Hopefully everything's kind of getting back to that. And I was telling you, I've been going back and forth with this guy. I'm looking at buying a Jeep Wrangler.
Oh, yeah.
Here pretty soon. So hopefully we'll be covered for Rednecks with Paychecks fall mud crawl.
Yes.
If you're still up and running, I mean, those are, like I told you, that place is nuts. It's just
stuff
ridiculous.
Like that. Like I'll still go to events, even especially if I sell the truck and trailer, because then I won't have hardly any overhead. So I'll still be able to go do stuff. I do want to try and figure out some kind of side-by-side rental or something, because we were looking a few weeks ago before they canceled it. And living in Vegas, I get so spoiled, because literally anything you want, you can just go out and rent it. Like, oh, do you want a Z06 Corvette? You can go rent it. Do you want a Ferrari? Go rent it. Side by side, go rent it. 50 cal sniper rifle? Oh yeah, that's just 10 minutes down the road. Like I have access to literally anything I want. And then I go to RWP. I'm like, I don't know what the big deal is. We'll just rent one. And then 100 miles radius, there's not a single thing for rent.
Yeah, there are a few places that do the rentals, but they're terribly expensive. I've looked them up. Last time I went, I didn't have my own rig. I kind of just showed up with my truck, and I rented a camper, and I had a buddy that had this like super ghetto rigged like monster truck. It was actually a lifted Fiat, like a 2-door 4-seater Fiat,
of course,
thing. And it was ridiculous and funny. I think you can see it on my Facebook. It's like one of my old profile pics. It's pretty crazy, but we just ended up riding around in that. But I think it was like $300+ to rent something. So it was a bit ridiculous.
Per day or for the weekend?
I can't remember. I just remember it being way too expensive. It's like a full 4-door. I think it's like a Yamaha Viking. So like they can seat like 5 or 6 people in them, and they're 4-wheel drive. And they got relatively powerful engines, but I want to say they were something close to $300 a day. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I looked that up. But
that's a lot. $3 a day is a lot.
Jeep's free. Jeep's free. You can put 4 people in it and put the top down and do all the video you want there.
Hell yeah, man. I'm excited. Hopefully everything returns to normal, man, because this is a bummer.
I don't see it lasting that long, so I'm optimistic about it.
Yeah. I mean, either way, we'll figure it out. It can't, like, they're not just going to let the economy devolve to the point where we're a third world country. Like, either everyone will have to go out in like SCBA masks or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think they're trying to.
Damn it, this is America. people are only going to sit at home for so long.
Well, I can tell you this is America, and they're not going to play by the rules either. I mean, I think a lot will, and I think a lot won't, as far as like wearing the masks, because I think it might last a short time, but after that, people are tired of it.
I didn't think this quarantine would cause like such an uprise of all the stuff the government's done in my lifetime, last 30 years. People are like ready to like riot in the streets over this. Like they're protesting at the Capitol. Like I'm all for a good overthrow of the government. I just didn't think coronavirus would be the thing to do it.
You know, Americans in general are sometimes really stupid. I mean, look what happened. You know, there's a virus going around, and the first knee-jerk reaction is, let's go buy all the toilet paper.
Yeah, it's not a gastrointestinal thing. It's not like it's, oh man, you got corona, you're gonna shit your brains out.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's like, why is your first reaction to go buy toilet paper when there's a pandemic?
Yeah, so I went into a grocery store. What do they have at DEB? The grocery stores
HEB.
down there? HEB, yeah.
HEB.
I went into one of those expecting it to just be like empty. And as soon as you walk in, most grocery stores, they have all the fresh produce and all that. And that was like untouched, like pristine. I was like, oh, well, maybe in Texas, they haven't like freaked out yet, which is kind of what I was counting on, because I knew in California, Nevada, they would have. But yeah, so as soon as you get past the fresh food, it's just like bare. Like no one wanted fruits and vegetables. Fuck a carrot. I need toilet paper and canned chili. That's what I need.
It seemed like around here, we didn't have any trouble grocery shopping at all. It was just toilet paper, like paper towels, and like bleach related products, or
anything to do with cleaning.
Yeah, that was it. Other than that, I mean, we're fully stocked on everything in the grocery stores around here.
Yeah, out here, man, it's not so bad now. You can pretty much just go to the store and get what you need now. Like there's toilet paper starting to come back and all that. But man, like it was rough. Like it's such weird stuff too that people like. There wasn't Gojo soap left. Like there was not an ounce of cleaning product left in that store.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I can say a few of the good things, you know, if you are a car guy and, you know, you have the means during this, I don't know, pandemic, or you call it a recession, whatever you want to call it. Now really is the time to go buy something, a project car or a sports car, because unfortunately, it sucks for some people. They just, you know, they don't have the means to keep going.
Thin. Yeah.
They don't have the income. They've been laid off, whatever it is. We had some guys that Peterbilt, one of my friends, he just told me they pretty much shut down the plant. So they're not building trucks anymore. And that's a big part of this economy. Yeah. I mean, it's temporary. I think actually I don't know if they went back last Monday, or I think they're maybe going back this Monday. Yeah. So allegedly they're supposed to go back to work Monday, but they just stopped building trucks for a couple weeks.
That's weird, because like the shipping industry and trucking seems to be one of the ones that was unhit.
Yeah, I thought so too. I guess they're not buying new trucks though. I think they're just using what they got out there right now.
Right.
I mean, realistically, you know, I don't think they're shipping more per se. Like people are probably ordering more products because
Amazon's shipping more. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but
they've got their own shipping.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know enough to comment on it, but it would make sense that nobody's going out and buying a $150,000 truck right now.
Well, what's crazy is these dealerships offering 90 days deferred payment, no interest. Like I feel like it's almost like the housing crisis. You're setting all these people up for failure. You know, like, oh, you're unemployed now, but in 90 days, everything will be fine. Strap yourself down with this $70,000 pickup. And then what happens in 90 days or the day after tomorrow when that dude gets laid off And unbeknownst to him, you know what I mean? He went into it thinking he was sweet. I just got a brand new truck, 0% financing for 15 years or whatever they're offering right now.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of that going around. That's crazy.
Man. Yeah.
But if you're in the market for a used vehicle, like I am right now, I want an old TJ Jeep, like something like a 97 to 2006 era. They're cheap right now, and I can get a real nice one for probably around $5,000, which is probably what I'm going to do. And I've been itching to do some sort of a mild build or even a stroker build on like an inline six. I've always liked inline six, and that's kind of what got me into the Cummins engines, all those things. So I'm a little bit excited about doing stuff like that.
What if we flew in a Barra motor from Australia and put that in there? It's a straight six.
A Barra, yeah. Those come out of the what is it? The Ute
Falcon.
Over there,
yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah. I don't know a lot about those, but I have seen some pretty cool stuff on them.
I didn't even know they existed till I went to Australia last year. Yeah, and they talked about the Australian 2J, and I felt hurt as a Ford enthusiast. Like, how come I didn't know we had this badass, like 1,000+ horsepower straight six? And we're sitting over here eating dicks in 5-liter Fox body Mustangs. They're not bad, but holy shit.
Yeah,
we got the cool Coyote now in that new 7-liter, but it was pretty lean for a long time.
Yeah, I'm wondering why that never really took off over here, because the 2JZ is like every car tuner's, like dream engine. They are great. 1JZs too, but I mean, all things considered, yeah, there's so many other things out there that are, more realistic to do stuff with. And then that engine over there is, kind of the same thing. It's a factory turbo engine, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they offer it in both, but yeah, you can get it with a factory turbo. Yeah. I guess it makes sense, because think about how poorly received V6 Mustangs and stuff were before people realized, something other than a massive V8 can make horsepower. Crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is people just want the V8s and anything. I mean, even the diesel game. A lot of people. A lot of guys that just didn't know a lot when I was towing around my 12,000-pound tractor rig in my 2014 Ram 2500. There's what kind of engines in there? It's like it's a V6. It's a Cummins. It's an inline six. I mean, and they don't understand. Like, what? You don't have V8 in that? Like, no, it's inline six.
Yeah,
it's great. That's what you want to tow with, inline six, man.
That's the reason all the freeway trucks straight sixes.
All of them. All straight six. Yeah. I mean, there's so many great engines. Like, looking back from 80s, 90s, and today, all like there's so many great engines are inline sixes. The 1JZ, 2JZs,
RBs,
the RBs, the Cummins, the 4-liter Jeep engine, the
Barra.
Yeah, and what was I about to say? The Ford 300.
What's that?
It was the like a 4.9 liter 300. They put them in their F-150s. It was just it wasn't like super powerful or anything. It was just really great low end torque kind of tow engine. It was actually their base model engine. Okay. They made tons of them and put them in F-150s, and you can get them in like the Broncos, and there's good towing rigs, really good for off-roading too, because you just have that real low instant torque. Right. They don't put up big numbers, but they're just kind of instant, nice torque, very reliable. Those old inline six from the Dodges. I think I was watching something on I think Engine Masters or something. They did a build on it, and they so there's something like 12 million of them built throughout the years. My God. Just they don't make any power. They lack in everything, but they get halfway decent fuel economy, and they last forever. Right. They're just super cheap and easy going. So I think there's inline six just for about any type of needs you could want, rather be towing, racing, or fuel economy. I think they're awesome engines. There's kind of my favorite thing. Of course, I've had plenty of V8s. I'm not bashing them, but I'm a big fan of sixes.
The only thing I can think of is they fell victim to the economizing of the auto industry. Like it's so much easier to put a V6 in something than a
Yeah,
straight six.
I don't fully understand. I mean, I guess with all the, I really don't fully understand it. Like, I think if you really understand how a lot of inline sixes work and the fact that they do really well in making torque, and especially at lower RPMs for most of these engines anyways, that's the kind of stuff you want to drive around the street, because you can spin lower RPMs, you can get better fuel economy, it's better for towing. I mean, it's kind of better for everything if you don't have to rev. Like I now have a 2014 F250. Unfortunately, it is the gas engine, but I really like it. But the only thing is, it feels like it belongs in a Mustang. It's an overhead valve or an overhead cam engine, and I'm towing up a hill, the trailer behind me, and the wind in my face. It has no problem going 5,500 RPM down the highway.
Just screaming.
It wants to rev, and like inline sixes don't do that because all the torque is at a much lower RPM, so it doesn't need to spin up to get it.
I do love towing in that truck. Like when you lock out sixth gear and it's in fifth, and you go start up a hill and it just wraps up to 30 pounds of boost, and it gets that real throaty, chuggy sound.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so much. It's fun to pull because it just loves it so much. It's so effortless in that truck.
It's what it's made for. I mean, like I said, I've had the Power Strokes from the F250s, and I really like them. I don't have anything really bad to say about them. But when it comes to just like for daily driving, for going faster, my Power Stroke was always faster, and it was actually a little more pleasant for daily driving. But when you put a trailer behind the two, it's just night and day difference. I've had every generation of the Cummins engine, from the first generation 12 valve and mechanical injection all the way up to the common rails, and they're just game changers, man. They really do extremely well with a load behind them. Now the transmissions are a totally different story, but the engine itself I really like. Yeah,
and I was doing a little reading on the transmission because that was my hesitation in buying the Dodge, was I'd heard such bad things. But from everything I read online, like as long as you're not putting some tune on it or driving it like an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. So from my experience, they're not as bad as they used to be. I do like the transmission in my Ford better. It has 2 overdrives, which is cool, so I can run a lower axle ratio.
Mm-hmm.
It has no problem running a 430 axle ratio because it has a dual overdrive, whereas these other ones have a single overdrive, which is fine as well. But I like, and it shifts. And this was an old oil field truck, so it's been used and abused, and it's still on the original engine and transmission with 164,000 miles on it, and it gets the job done, no problem doing anything I've thrown at it. Even stuff that I would typically use for a diesel would do, it still gets it done. Just has to work a little harder to do it. But yeah, I had some problems with that 2014 Ram engine doing like some hard downshifts. Here's some clanks, kind of scare you. But other than that, I didn't really have any major issues with it.
But you tuned that truck too, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I just had a real basic little programmer. I did the full delete with it, and it had trans tuning in it. So, and honestly, the trans tuning was probably one of the best parts about it. As far as trying to go faster, when I towed with it, I left everything completely stock because it's ready to go with me tuning, in my opinion. But yeah, if I wasn't hooked up to anything, with a good little 60 horsepower tune on it and some trans tuning, it was relatively quick. I remember, I don't know what year it was, but it was one of those last years of the 4.6 Mustang engines. Whatever that is, kind of when they remodeled the Corvette to kind of have that more classic look to it. I actually was able to beat one of those. I did a 4-wheel drive launch, so he kind of left on it. I kind of left on in the beginning. He kind of pulled a little bit, but ultimately, with all that tune, everything, it actually had enough power to pull on him a little bit. Of course, who knows? It could have been a bad driver,
Yeah.
And
hey, a win's a win, my friend.
Cool it's been pretty cool having a nearly almost 8,000-pound truck beating a legitimate sports car.
Yeah, they are big, heavy bitches.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love it though. It bums me out to see it just sitting there in the trailer, just sitting there. But someday we will ride again.
Yeah, that does suck. Where are you storing it? Yeah, that's a big rig.
Luckily, my sister, she lives in this HOA community thing, and I was expecting them as soon as I unhooked it to just like have it towed immediately, because that's how HOAs are. Yeah. But a few days I left it there and no one said anything. I left it with the truck hooked up, and then I printed out this sign that was like, hey, because it's registered in California and the registration's up this month. So I was like, hey, I just bought it. Like, I can't register it. None of the tow lots or the storage lots are accepting anything. Here's my number. Like, if you need to get a hold of me, please don't tow it. Like, if it's a big deal, just let me know. Anyway, the HOA lady called me and I was like, oh boy, here we go. And she was super nice. She was like, just wanted to make sure that I was staying with someone who was actually a part of the community. But as soon as I, gave her my sister's info, she was like, all right, cool. Talk to you later. So I got really lucky because, God, man, like I can store it on base in short term for like $2 a day, which is dirt cheap. All the other places are like a couple $100 a month. And it's like, by the time I have the truck payment, the trailer payment, insurance for all of it, a storage fee of, $200-300 a month. And then I got to, kick my sister some money because I'm staying here. Well, I might as well have the apartment at that point. Like my overhead is insane. So,
I mean, that sucks, man. You think about how much this has affected you. I mean, your entire business that you're running here, and that's going around across the country.
Yeah. So the good thing is diesel prices have dropped. Cause
a lot,
bro. I need to get a transfer tank because it is such an insane difference. It's like the farther west you go, it's just exponentially more expensive. Like we paid under $2, I think, for diesel somewhere. And then here in Vegas, it's like $3. And then you go to California, it's $3.50, $4.
Yeah, I think it's about 209, 220-ish right now for diesel.
My sister lives next to the cheapest place in Vegas, and I paid $2.55 yesterday.
I see a few places that are right under $2 a gallon.
Regular gas is like $1.19. It's ridiculous in Texas, not here.
I've just filled up. I just filled up yesterday for $1.20 something, 25 a gallon.
Oh my God,
that's pretty great. I got a 35-gallon tank, so I fill up pretty cheap.
Oh, I forget where it was. Somewhere in Nevada, I got caught with the trailer coming home, and the wind was so bad. I was getting like 6 miles a gallon. It was brutal. So anyway, I was calculating for 10, which is still awful, but I got caught in the middle of nowhere and I had to pay $4.59 a gallon for diesel.
Ugh.
My card clicked off at like 130 and I hadn't even filled up yet.
God dang.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. It was.
That's like you're telling you, man. Everything's better in Texas,
bro. I'm unless something crazy happens, I should be out there next year. It's just a matter of finding out where exactly we want to be. My sister, they have a property out there, and it's over closer to Frisco, I think, which is where you used to live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to tell them all our shenanigans when I came to see you when you lived in Frisco, and the once in a lifetime ice storm that hit Dallas.
We called it the Ice Mageddon.
Oh my God, man! So it was still 2013 at that point because I got out.
Yeah, 2013.
my contract was up in 2014 from the Navy, not professional basketball. I know a lot of you look at me and think that guy played professional sports, but no. I left. I had terminal leave, which is basically if you have vacation time, you can quit the Navy early, more or less. So I left right after Thanksgiving, and I drove from Virginia down to Tampa to see my buddy Matt. And then I think I took the 40 or the 10, probably the 10, because I came up like right off the panhandle of Florida. Anyway, stopped and saw Brandon in Dallas. And it was fine when I got there. It was just cold. I blew a tire on the way in because they had those stupid Pirelli P0s that were the worst tires ever. I'm going to say it. I never had to buy a set of tires for those because they all blew out at different times. So I replaced them individually. I only had the car for like 3 years. And in that time, I replaced all 4 tires. And the Audi had low profile tires, and I never had a single problem. Anyway, so yeah, I come in, park the car, hang out with Brandon, come out, was it the next morning?
Yeah, I think so.
And there was like,
I'd only planned on staying one night.
Yeah, probably. And there was like 4 inches of ice over everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, I grew up here my whole life, and I've never seen any sort of ice or blizzard or whatever like that before. I think you had like 4 inches of ice on your windshield. It took us like half the day to thaw it. And
yeah, we had to pull it into your garage. We were like, we were hitting it with the heat gun and hair dryers and.
Yeah. Now, luckily, we had like all the right vehicles for it. The Golf all-wheel drive.
Yep.
Had a little fun in that. I had my 4-wheel drive F-250 at the time, and it was just good to have something big and 4-wheel drive just to get around in a little safer. And then the UTV, it was like
we buried up to the axles.
Yeah, it was like a Husqvarna UTV. Luckily, I had a winch on it, but yeah, it took we spent hours out there
because we were so far from anything we could winch to. So we had like a bunch of dirt bike ratchet straps that we like hooked together to try and get to a tree, but it was so heavy by that point in the mud that we snapped like 4 or 5 ratchet straps before we went to Walmart and got like a 10,000 pound tow strap.
Broke a few. I think the problem was the ice was so thick. We were literally driving over like the shallow parts of the lake and not realizing it until I like broke through and just went straight to that mud. Yeah,
it was real bad. It was an adventure.
It was a good time though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely fun.
What else? After I left you, I went through Colorado, and that's when I noticed the clutch start slipping in like 5th gear or 6th gear. When you try and roll into it, as soon as the boost came on, it would just slip.
How many miles was that on the car?
Clutch was garbage, man. I that was before I'd even launched it. I hadn't even like done digs with it yet, and that clutch was already slipping. So
yeah.
I mean, granted, I tuned it, but it was like 100 horsepower over stock. So it's not like I, LS swapped it or something.
That's still quite a bit for a stock clutch.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that car, but if I was going to spend $37,000 on something else, I probably would have made a different choice than the Golf, unfortunately.
What would you buy now for $37,000?
Right now? I don't know, man. You're kind of spoiled for choice now because I haven't looked recently, but you could probably come close to getting a 1st-gen Hellcat or something. Right?
Yeah, I think
almost 40.
Low 40s. Yeah, I think I've seen them as low as like 39,000. So I'm sure you could probably get one for 37.
Yeah, like
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Plus, I didn't do my research. At that point, I had a 335i that CarMax was bringing down from Richmond that I was going to go buy the next day. So I went to the Oceana Auto Show. Every year, Navy Federal puts on this massive like tent sale out at the airfield in Oceana in Virginia Beach, and they have like all the dealerships from the area come out, and I stopped by there to see if they had a better deal than what I was getting, and this dude was like, have you ever heard of the Golf R? And I'd heard of the R32s, and I was like, oh yeah, they're great. And that's how he sold me. He's like, oh, this is a new R32. They only make them, every 4 years. This one's going to be very rare, blah, blah, blah. And then they started making them every year. There's a Golf R model. So that was a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, yeah, he was a good salesman. He got me in the car, and that was the end of it. So,
that's funny. It reminds me of that story. Man, I guess I got to the ship in 2000, February 2010, or real early 2010. And I didn't have a car at the time, and so I was walking back to the ship from the NEX.
God!
Yeah, back to the ship from the NEX. I was shopping over there. It's a good 2-mile walk or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's a hike. Yeah, that was before Uber too, so it's not like you could.
Yeah, and these guys, how everybody else, they know that these E2s out there, they don't know nothing. They're just fresh out of high school, and so this guy pulls up beside me. He goes, "Hey man, you need a ride somewhere?" And I'm like, kind of skeptical. I'm like, I'm good. And he's like, "Man, come on, man. I used to be in the Navy. I'll help you out." I'm like, so my dumb ass gets in the car with this guy. And so he's taking me back to the ship, or back to the whatever entryway, just to help me out a little bit. And then he was like, "You need a car, man." I was like, "Yeah, I'm probably going to buy one pretty soon." He goes, "Man, let me take you to a dealership."
Yep.
He's a fucking car dealer, man. He takes me to this car dealership. And that's how I ended up with the Evo. So they had this it wasn't clapped out or anything. It was a decent Evo, but it had like 105,000 miles, something like that on it. And it had some real minor little issues, but it was bone stock. And so the guy gets me there. So I have no money. I think I have like $1,000, and I financed the entire thing. No money down. I had pretty good credit. And so they were trying to talk me into this what's the Volkswagen Golf GTI?
Yeah, the four-wheel drive one. Well, there's a couple. The GTIs they're little hot hatch.
Yeah,
it's the trim level below the R.
It was one like the early 2000 models, whatever. He's trying to get me one of those, and I was like, I don't know a lot about these. I know they're pretty cool, but I was like, I know that Evo's badass, and that's what I want.
Right.
So a couple hours later, they finally approved me, and I drove home with it that night. And,
damn.
Dude got me. I mean, it was a pretty sweet car, though. I don't regret buying it. It was probably one of the best handling vehicles I've ever had.
Yeah, they tried to get me when I first got to Norfolk. When you come in the main gate there, those barracks right across the street, just like the clapped out ones that you stay in when you first get there. So I was outside smoking, and this dude pulls up in a TC, which was like the new cool thing back then. And he had like an intake and a cat back, and it sounded okay. And he was out there smoking. I was like, "Oh, it's a nice car, man." He's like, "Oh, thanks. You want to go for a ride?" And I was like, okay. Because, I mean, I didn't have anything else to do. Like, it was like a Friday night in the barracks. Like, I was smoking cigarettes. That's all I was going to do the rest of the night. So we go for a ride. And he's, like, trying to show off in his, I don't even know what horsepower those were. Fucking 12 horsepower Scion TC.
Yeah.
And we're zipping around. And we're, like, we've been gone for, like, 30 minutes now. And I'm like, this dude's going to, like, take me out and have his way with me or whatever. So we finally pull into one of those we finance anyone places, which if you've ever been to a military town, those are everywhere. Because no matter how horrible the deal is, they know that if you sign and then default, all they have to do is contact your command, and then the military will take that money out of your paycheck before you even see it. Mm-hmm. So they don't care if they, like, we had a dude buy a car that didn't exist. He gave the man a check and many thousands of dollars out of his personal account to buy a car that he'd only seen a picture of on a cell phone.
Oh my God, that's just dumb.
Yeah. Anyway, I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, outside smoking. He takes me to this dealership, and at that point, I knew exactly what I wanted. I was like, I want a 2002 to 2005 A4, black or red exterior, black interior with the 5-speed. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I told him that. Oh no, so let me back up a little bit more. We go into the dealership, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just got to sign some paperwork because I just bought this car." I was like, okay, whatever. And then this other salesman just pops around the corner, and he's like, oh, the salesman's like, oh, hey, Chris, this is Brad's friend, Chris also. And we're like, Chris and Chris, ha, ha, ha. He's like, let me take you outside and see what we got around the lot. I was like, well, this is exactly what I want. He's like, okay, well, let's just go take a look. And that dickhead tried to sell me V6 Mustang, a green Audi with tan interior that was an automatic and front wheel drive. I was like, well, that's closer than, the state. He tried to sell me a bike. He took me to a different lot, tried to get me to buy a Hyundai Tiburon, which by that point I was just having fun with him. So I was like, oh yeah, let's test drive this Tiburon. So we pull out, and the first thing I do is redline it and drop the clutch, right? Just out of the driveway. Yeah. Wham! Like grab 3 gears, and he's like, oh, hold on, whoa, easy there, man. Like, whoa. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it is pretty cool. He's like, maybe we should just go back. So I don't remember the name of the road, but they had it was 4 lanes, 2 each way, and they had like a big grassy median, like a lot of roads over there do. So like this U-turn spot came up, so I like slam the brakes, downshift 2 or 3 times, basically do a drifting U-turn if you can in a front-wheel drive car without grabbing the e-brake. Do the same thing all the way back, and he's like, oh, so do you like it? Because he thought he was going to guilt me into buying it, I guess, because of the test drive. I was like, no, I still want my Audi. Can you take me home now?
Yeah, right.
Those guys are just sharks, dude.
Dude, they are, man. They're shady as hell. I did that same thing in that Evo when we test drove it. I redlined it and dumped the clutch and spun all 4 tires. Dude's like, you're buying this, right? And I'm like, yeah, take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad because you think that, oh, they're young military people. No one's going to try and take advantage of them. No. Nah, man. You have a target on your back.
Everybody in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, they're out to screw over young military guys. I mean, a lot of these guys, it's embarrassing. They one of my roommates, I can't remember his name, he was on the ship too. Like they don't know anything. Dude didn't know how to load a dishwasher, didn't know how to function a dishwasher, didn't know how to like use basic kitchen appliances. These people have like no life skills, and they're fresh out of high school trying to figure out how to live life in the military, and you have these assholes like taking advantage of people and young guys. I mean, the cool thing is though, if you're gonna make your mistakes, go ahead and make them young, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. It's a sharp learning curve
for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it does suck that these people want to take advantage of you, and they know the system, and everybody out there, the people, the locals, especially the cops, they all hate the Navy out there.
I mean, for good reason. Like, there's a lot of assholes, but at the same time, that whole city, that whole metro area would shrivel up and die if the Navy moved out of there. So,
yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah, I mean, it is a strong part of the economy there, but I mean, things are just so different because, like the laws that are written there as well. I mean, like you said, the times we got our trouble, racing around. In Texas, right before I was doing the Navy, I was on my way to the recruiting station on my GSXR 750, and I passed this car. They kind of hit their brakes kind of hard, and so I was young and dumb and pissed off, and so I passed them really fast. I passed them on the shoulder doing a wheelie. Right, probably a good 80 mile an hour or so, and the cop pulls me over.
Oh, Jesus.
he gives me a ticket for improper passing. So it's like everything's just different around it. Like cops around here are pretty awesome. Like they're not out to like totally screw you over. They're getting their quota and then they move on with life. So it seems like, anyways.
Yeah, the ones in Houston are definitely not like that. When I was in Texas at Texas 2K 2017, no 18, because I didn't go 2019. Anyway, this cops everywhere are on high alert during Texas 2K, which if you ever been or you know anything about it, it's they call it the Super Bowl of streetcars because you got 3,000 horsepower street cars there, and it's insane. Like the night racing is probably bigger than the daytime racing out at the speedway there in Baytown. But anyway, it's late. There's a drop top Ferrari 458 and a Lamborghini Huracan, and it's going under the freeway, double turn lane to get on the freeway headed south or whatever. So I saw this cop sitting behind us, and I did an experiment on purpose. I left way quicker than the Ferrari and Lamborghini because I knew he was going to fuck with them, and I wanted to see if he would do it just because they were fast or because they took off or whatever. So I burned off the line, got to the next stoplight faster than them. But, you know, they're sports cars, so first gear is real tall, so they rev to probably, I don't know. It sounds great because it's in the overpass, so they take off slower than me, and as soon as they grab second, the cop lights them up. I was like, you piece of shit. Those guys were going slower than me, and just because they're loud and you probably have something against people with nice cars, you pulled them over. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I lost my shit, man. I was so upset about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Granted, they could have been screwing around before me. I don't know. I get shitty about stuff like that.
Maybe you just want to go there and talk to them about their cars.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm assuming the worst. I shouldn't do that. But
I mean, on the flip side, they could, it didn't matter to them. If you can afford a Huracan,
that's true.
You probably aren't worried about a speeding ticket.
Yeah, there's probably
the drop in the bucket.
Yeah, they just sent it to their
pocket phone.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah. There's a guy in that old neighborhood I lived in Frisco. He lives in the last house right before you get to the lake, and he has a helicopter pad that he flies the helicopter in from his other house, I guess, which is a lot nicer than this one. And then he gets in his garage and pulls out his Lamborghini Huracan and he drives to the lake. So that's probably the type of wealth that normally drives those type of cars, I would imagine.
That's true. Dude, when you got helicopter money, that's a whole nother, that's another level right there.
Yeah, he's pretty wealthy. I think he owns that marina.
Okay, yeah.
All boat slips and all that.
So after watching Tiger King, apparently everyone in Texas and Oklahoma has a wild animal. Do you know anyone with tigers or wolverines or anything crazy?
Not anymore. Actually, I used growing up. My dad had a few acres and a cabin up in the hill country of Oklahoma. We drive to. It's about a 3-hour drive. And we go out there every couple of weekends. And our neighbor, which lived, a couple hundred yards away from us, he kept those lynx, and which is like kind of like a bobcat if you're not familiar with them. And they're not. I don't think they're native here, so they're kind of an exotic thing. And then he had like cougars and stuff like that, but never tigers or anything real wild like that. I have a friend that's got an alligator.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a baby still, but he posts shit about it. He's like, "Oh, she got bit," and he's like, "Getting stitches." And I'm like, "Yeah, you dumbass."
Oh man. Yeah, reptiles are weird, man. Reptiles and insects, like they just give no fucks. They are old, calculated survival machines.
Yeah, it seems that way. I don't have many more. A lot of maintenance. I sold them, but I had 3 ball pythons for a little while.
Those are fun.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, I had one that was he's like rogue. He just wanted to attack everything, and the other two were just so docile. You do whatever you want with them, like put in your pocket and hang out with them or something. But I didn't. But I mean, they're just so docile. You could do whatever with them.
Yeah, I was shocked at how cheap it is to get a tiger. I was expecting like, I don't know, like yeah, I was expecting at least like 10, 12, at least.
Oh yeah. Was it Shaquille O'Neal that was on the show and he bought like 2 tigers?
Oh yeah, he's like, I just picked up like 3 more tigers. Oh man, that shit was crazy.
Oh man, it's so dumb. Like, I don't know, man. I didn't realize it, like how much they eat.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like if for example, Shaq, if he already had a couple, he just bought a few more. I mean, dude, he's filthy rich, I know, but he has to have like his own caretaker, somebody taking care of that. I know.
You're not doing that.
Taking care of these.
Yeah, you're not going out there in the morning like to let the dog out and feed the tiger. Your 4 or 5 tigers. Yeah,
so I mean, gee, that's a lot of upkeep. I was actually reading an article today about this guy. I don't remember what state he was in, somewhere up north. But he bought this tiger cub, and he kept it in his apartment in somewhere. I think it was New York, in like just the suburbs of New York, in an apartment. Geez. It grew up into a 425-pound lion or tiger, and he just kept it in his apartment. I guess stayed in there for like 3 years until he finally got caught. And then apparently he had an alligator in there as well.
That's so insane.
Yeah, that is. Why do people do that? I mean, I love animals. Me and my wife love animals. We have
for sure
2 dogs, 2 cats. I've got a couple aquariums. We actually own 2 cows that we just keep on a friend's land just to go out there and feed them or whatever. I used to have a lot more cattle when I had land, but we just like them. They're a lot of fun having animals, but golly, some of the stuff, like, 1, they're incredibly dangerous, and 2, the upkeep of them is just crazy. He was saying he spent like $250,000 a year to feed all of his Tiger King guy.
Yeah. Well, my ex's little like 5-pound cat fucked me up. I could not imagine a 400-pound tiger. Like, animals spook. Like, the dog spooks. It twitches, but you're okay because it's small. Even if you're playing with that tiger and a car backfires and it spooks, that little twitch is enough to like sever an artery, Yeah.
No, they're entirely designed to kill.
They are God's perfect killing machine. Every part of them can kill you. Their hand, their claws, their mouth, everything. Every part of that animal will kill you.
Their sheer weight.
Yeah. That 900-pound, 11-foot tall liger. It's gotta lay down on you, and it'll kill you. Like, it's just insane.
It's pretty crazy. We go to a couple of drive-through safaris probably once or twice a year, just something fun to do. There's several of them around here. They have a lot of exotic game. A lot of them just stuff that'll come up to the car and you can feed them. But then they have like lions and tigers and stuff locked up that you can drive through and see. And so that's the only time I've really ever seen anything up close like that. They're just huge and ridiculous. I couldn't imagine walking in there and hanging out with them like these people do. I'm not scared of animals, man, like not at all. I've been a hunter my whole life and I've kept a lot of animals, but I'm not stupid and I'm not going to put my life in danger just to go pet a crazy animal.
Yeah. Although, as far as animals to get murdered by, a big cat would be the best because they go straight for the jugular. Like bears and wolves and shit, they just incapacitate you to where you can't get away, and then they start eating you.
Yeah,
like you see those Nature is Metal videos where like they've got some water buffalo pinned down because it's just too tired to move. And they're just eating it like asshole first. And it's just looking at the camera like, you going to do something? Like, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
It's still alive. It's just too tired to move. So that's enough. And they start eating it.
It's fucked up, man.
It's brutal.
That's nature, though.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about that time, buddy. We've talked about life, love, cars, animals. All the essentials.
Covered all the bases.
Yeah. Brandon, I'm sure you'll be on here. You're my go-to technical car guy. You're definitely a lot more savvy than I know, just enough to get myself in trouble, but you'll be our resident expert, buddy.
Yeah, I'm by no means an expert, but I was a certified automotive technician when I was real young, and I kind of got out of the automotive industry as far as repairing and maintenance goes. But I worked on diesels and auxiliary equipment in the Navy as well, and I've just been a hot rodder my whole life. So I'm constantly reading and learning and working on stuff myself. So I'm relatively knowledgeable in all of it. Just mostly self-taught, I suppose.
I am a YouTube certified mechanic, so that's it's a pretty big deal, you know.
Hey, I'm not ashamed to get on YouTube when I need to. I get stumped every now and then. I got to hop on there.
Yeah, it's almost not fair. Like when you think about our parents and they're out there with the Haynes manual and a flashlight trying to look at a grainy picture to figure it out.
Yep.
But
I had one of my friends that really taught me about all the big block stuff. He's like, go buy this book and learn before you get in, tear into it. And when I did my last big block Chevy build, and I was like, I kind of read through it, and I was like, I'm gonna get on YouTube, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got what I could from the book, and I was like, I'm getting on YouTube. There's a lot more information on there.
I'd rather watch this in 4K. Yeah.
Yeah, right. For sure.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, and talk to you later.